We've watched it grow. And I don't want it to turn into something so industrial that this town is just sitting a ghost town in a couple of years because nobody wants to live here anymore. So I just wanted to share those concerns with you because they are very, very concerning to me. And so thank you for listening.
I thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Ms. Ruth Brinker?
She's my emotional support.
Okay. Ms. Ruth, will you state your name and address for the record, please? Thank you.
Ruth Barber, 45002 Coquina Way, Callahan, Florida. Thank y'all for having us. I'd like you to please consider the location of the data centers. It's very important for our communities in Callahan and Yulee, in Bernardina. We all live in the rural area, and when we moved here, that was our big dream, is to live in a rural area and to raise our kids in the country, on farmland, to plant the farmland, to hunt our land. And these data centers have been proven to affect nature, agricultural, water, and all that. But I'm going to read what I wrote up because I'll get nervous. Florida is defined by its wetlands, springs, rich ecosystems, not by its power plants, industry scale, computer facilities. As we well know, across the state, farmland and open space have steadily given way to subdivisions, replacing pastures, citrus groves, housing developments, and big commercial centers. As out to the people that came from out of state also have came to relocate to Florida, which our population has probably tripled here in Nassau County in the last couple of years. So does the demand for land, and often at the expense of natural environment that has long defined our state. As population growth wasn't enough, a new threat, Florida's ecosystem, is emerging. AI data centers require large amounts of land, infrastructure, but the impact extends beyond the space they occupy. It impacts on the demand of electricity, water system, our ecosystem, our agricultural water, all the streams and the rivers that flow within the Florida and Georgia-Florida line, things like that. Also add pressures to our resources that already are strained in Florida by population growth. Research from Cornell shows the data center accounts for more than 4% of the total U.S. electricity consumption, reflecting the level energy required to support an AI system. To gather unnecessary strain is placed on Florida's already limited water and energy system, making further expansion near impossible to justify. Land doesn't come to us. Land doesn't come back to us. Concrete doesn't grow trees. It doesn't feed our ecosystems. These uncertainties is overwhelmingly concerning. With ecosystems already fragile and developmental pressures rising, this is a risk not worth taking with our clear, long understanding of its consequences. Major AI development centers already exist in other parts of the country where infrastructure and resources are better equipped and already developed to support them. I don't believe Florida does need to be the next. There's other areas that can support these facilities a lot better than our land. Not that I'm not saying we don't need them somewhere, but I'm saying I don't think it's appropriate for our land, for our community here. Growth for the sake of growth is not enough to justify the loss of land, strain on water, and pressure on energy systems these facilities bring. The decision we make today will be having an impact on public health for many years to come due to the long lifespan of these data centers.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you.
She's going to do the other 3 minutes. We get 3 minutes apiece.
I don't have a speaker card, but yes, ma'am. Come.
I'm sorry.
No, the clerk will have you fill out a speaker card. If you'll state your name and address for the record,
Okay.
please.
My name is Sharon Burke, and my address is 8511092 North Highway 17 in Yulee. And, hold just 1 second. Okay. Nassau County residents deserve full transparency, rigorous environmental, fiscal, and housing and cultural analysis, and assurance that any development will not impose disproportionate burdens on our water, power grid, roads, and rents, faith communities, or quality of life. We urge continued community engagement at upcoming board meetings and public hearings. Ask questions about exact site locations and projected water and power usage, noise modeling, traffic studying, job creation, numbers with local hiring guarantee, housing impact assessments, and binding commitments or mitigation. Support efforts to strengthen ordinances so that any projects meet high standards tailored to Nassau County's unique character. Our county's future should be shaped by informed, deliberate decisions, not rushed announcements or national trends that have left other communities paying a steep price by learning from experience elsewhere and insisting on strong local safeguards. We can protect the real Florida we cherish. This is a pivotal moment for Nassau County. Let's ensure that our development serves our residents, our families, our churches, and our economy, not the other way around. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to clarify for the record, please make sure you have a speaking card available, ready to come up. I do want everything to run efficiently. It's only respectful for everyone in the audience. At this point forward, Ms. Patricia Scatalian. If you'll just state your name and address for the record, please.
Certainly. My name is Pat Scatalone. I live at 96454 Otter Run Drive, Fernandina Beach, Florida. First of all, I'd like to thank the county for the workshops that have been going on. They've been very helpful in providing additional information, and they've been well attended, and I really do appreciate that the county supported this. I've previously addressed this board in regards to data centers and compromised health due to carbon emissions. But tonight I'd like to address the waste issue. Data centers also generate massive amounts of waste, extending far beyond standard e-waste. The waste stream is generally broken down into 3 areas: e-waste, hazardous operational materials, and supporting infrastructure. In addressing electronic waste, as technology ages, data centers regularly refresh and decommission their hardware, such as server equipment, which is web database and file servers, along with their internal processors and motherboards. Data storage media, which is hard drives, solid-state drives, and tape drives. Networking gear, which is network cables, routers, firewalls, and switches. The question is, how do they dispose of or recycle this equipment? Next, let's address hazardous materials. Much of the data center waste is classified as hazardous due to heavy metals, chemicals, and toxins that come from, number 1, batteries, which have large quantities of lead acid and lithium used in uninteroperable power supply systems. More hazardous materials come from coolants and refrigerants used to prevent servers from overheating. Additional hazard materials come from chemicals such as cleaning solvents, fire suppression agents, and fluorescent lamps. Other chemicals such as PFAs are used in closed-loop cooling continuously that circulates water. It is a misconception that these systems only use pure water or are completely free of chemicals. PFAs and other chemical additives are frequently present in data center water systems. PFAs, when discharged, last forever, and they are poisonous. Lastly, we need to think about the supporting infrastructure. When a data center closes or undergoes a massive refit, the heavy physical infrastructure is also replaced. And where does it go? Where do the server racks, the cooling units, the large enclosures go? Where do the power distribution units and backup generators go? How are we as a county prepared to handle this waste safely when a data center closes or experiences a massive refit? And who pays for it? Thank you.
Ms. Rachel Devereaux.
My name is Rachel DeVoe. My address is 451573 Old Dixie Highway, Callahan, Florida, 32011. In August of 2016, a 45-foot sinkhole opened up beneath Mosaic's New Wales fertilizer plant in Mulberry, Florida. It drained 250 million gallons of radioactive phosphate-contaminated wastewater directly into the Floridian aquifer. It supplies drinking water to millions of citizens. Mosaic waited 3 weeks to tell the public. The company reported the breach to the Department of Environmental Protection on August 27th, and state regulators did not issue public notice until September 19th. The Floridian aquifer is not some distant concern. It is the water under our house, our neighborhood, and our city. Phosphate mining has been punching holes in it for over a century, and the regulatory system designed to protect it has repeatedly looked the other way. Mosaic paid no criminal penalties, and operations continues. This is how big business functions. Zero consequences, so why would they change their business model? This happened a decade ago. How much more damage has been done to our aquifers since then? We have to think about this when we consider data centers, because Mosaic is only one of many companies that have been pulling water out of Florida. Nestle sucks out over 1 million gallons a day and sells it back to us. The sugarcane industry uses and pollutes. I don't even have enough time to name them all because I have 3 minutes. Data centers are new, so we don't have a lot of information, but we've seen things in other states, like Georgia, really close to us. Investigators in Georgia found that the cause of unusually low water pressure in homes across Fayetteville County was a data center secretly drawing 29 million gallons through 2 water connections that the county had no clue existed. No fines. No fines. There are more situations like this, and I also don't have the time to name them all. Utah, Tennessee, take your pick. So what is the tipping point? We need public servants who can look at the bigger picture. Because what if the system breaks? What if the next big sinkhole is in Nassau County? The bigger picture is always the environment, and that's why this moratorium is so important. Let's get the information that we need. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jeff Wilder?
Thank you. I'm going to warn you, I'm a fast talker. Sorry.
You and I both, Mr. Wilder.
All right.
If you'll state your name and address.
My name is Jeff Wilder. I reside at 54056 Corley Drive, Callahan, Florida.
Thank you.
Data center advocates and developers are telling us how they require very little resources, which I'm here to counterfeit with some examples. Last month, 49,000 Lake Tahoe residents were told their power supplier will stop providing service to them in May of 2027 because their local data center is becoming the sole client. But we're told there's no risk of impact to our infrastructure. Loudoun County, Virginia, Dominion Energy's data center now requires upgraded transmission lines and is using eminent domain to run these lines through seized homeowners' land. I believe you had someone here this morning from Loudoun County who said, it's just farmland anyway. Well, that's pretty rich because last time I checked, agriculture here still matters. Virginia data centers also used 2.1 billion gallons of water in 2023, creating a deficit in their downstream Potomac River, which supplies the drinking water to residents, but we're told they don't need large volumes. Coweta and Fayette counties in Georgia. Georgia Power is currently using eminent domain for project sale, forcing 330 residents to sell their homes to place transmission lines because they have higher energy needs. Approximately 20 to 30 of those homes are being demolished. 830 acres of conservation land there is also rezoned for data centers to access the local river basin, but we're told they don't need large volumes of water. Fayetteville, Georgia. The QTS data center was discovered having 29 million gallons of water, as you just heard. They didn't even know about one of the 2 water hookups, but we're told they don't need large volumes of water. In the Dalles, Oregon, one of Google's data centers used 550 million gallons of water in 2025, 40% of that city's usage, and our aquifer is now at risk. There was also a 26% increase from the year before, and the residents' water bills have doubled. But we're told they don't need a lot of water. Here, nearly 11,000 residents depend on their wells. Here, FPL struggles to keep power flowing during 25-mile-per-hour winds or even a light rain, let alone having a data center join the grid. The living question is still, why build here? Resource and power alternatives for data centers do exist, but they're not being used because local resources are cheaper, faster, regardless of promises otherwise. This project is just another hasty attempt that I believe will harm our resources, maximize investor profits, offer artificial and short-term boost to local economy, only to become another Pandora box if approved. I lived here in the real Yulee in the 80s. I returned here 8 years ago to retire in this once sleepy community. You're not being asked to stop progress, but you are being asked to exercise sound judgment. Florida survives very successfully on tourism, and massive data centers are not part of that attraction. Respectfully, Ms. McCullough, you're running up for re-election on the platform of responsible development. I don't think this project is one. Mr. Farmer, you stated last month that the moratorium would be unanimous vote, and I do pray that is the case tonight. When a way of life is affected, people do take notice, and even children are taught actions have consequences. I respectfully remind you all, your decisions do as well. If you choose not to listen to your constituents on this matter, well, that's why we have elections. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Rachel Stillwell?
My name is Rachel Stillwell. I live at 36100 Sagebrush Lane in Callahan, Florida. Florida is one of the fastest growing states in the nation. People continue to move here because of our natural beauty, water, wildlife, our rural character, and quality of life. Growth is not a reason to lower our standards, it's a reason to raise them. As more people choose to call Florida home, we should take pride in being a county that prioritizes its citizens, protects its natural resources, and plans thoughtfully for future generations. As we face increasing farming challenges and environmental changes, as seen in this last year's drought, it is especially important that we preserve land, water, and resources that allow our communities to thrive. Protecting these foundations is not only about conservation, it's about ensuring future generations have the same opportunity to prosper here as well. If industrial scale facilities are proposed here, and they will be, they should be held to the highest standards available. That includes requiring the best available technologies, closed loop and air-cooled cooling systems, strict limits on water use, independent monitoring, public transparency, substantial native buffers, and meaningful financial and operational consequences when permit conditions are violated. I also believe that Nassau County should evaluate a 1 mile setback from existing homes, schools, churches, parks, conservation lands, and other sensitive uses. A minimum 1 mile buffer is not about stopping growth. It is about recognizing that industrial scale facilities can and have been documented to create impact beyond their property lines and ensuring residents have a meaningful margin of protection. The goal should not be to determine the maximum impact residents are willing to tolerate. The goal should be to determine the minimum impact that is achievable. As my parents taught me as a child, and I strive to live as an adult, we should strive to leave things better than we found them. And that's something that my kids know as well. And that principle applies not only to our personal lives, but also to stewardship of our communities and natural resources. Those entrusted with guiding growth should strive to ensure their decisions leave Florida healthier and more beautiful than they found it. Thank you.
Mr. Jonathan Vess? Mr. Vess, I know you're protected, so if you'll just state your name for the record.
Yes, good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jonathan Vest. I live in Nassau County. I didn't write anything. I'm going to just speak from the heart here, and I can't speak as eloquently as everybody else has. I come from a large city where we do have a lot of industrial complexes, where we did when I lived there, and nothing good happens in those complexes. Nothing good happens in those areas. I've lived through refinery explosions and fires and things like that that spread way beyond 5-6 mile radius of the event. And one of the things that drew me to Florida specifically was that it's full of good-hearted people that live a pure lifestyle, not coming from large cities. And then what drew me to specifically Nassau County is it's a rural area. I live in a very rural portion of the county, and I did that so I can raise my kids in the rural area. Now, the only thing I don't like about Nassau is the humidity and the mosquitoes. Nothing we can do about that. But other than that, I absolutely love it out there. And one of the things that I've been noticing is there's been a large push around the nation for people to reject data centers. And you have to ask yourself why. Why are all these other communities rejecting it? And then my question would be, would it be a good idea for us to send people out of those areas that have these data centers and ask, how has life changed from what you were promised to what's being delivered? How has life changed? And my final thing before I relinquish my time is, does anybody in this room want to live next to a data center? You all included. Does anybody in this room want to live next to a data center? I don't. I don't see Nassau County as the data center capital. I see Nassau County as a rural, family-driven community. That's what I'd like to keep it as. With that, I finish my time. I thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Rag Murphy, Mr. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. I'll hold you for public. Allison Wolf. And Mr. Trenton Wyndham, are you in the room? Thank you, Ms. Allison. Will you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Allison Wolf. I reside at 44279 Corey's Lane in Callahan. I actually didn't prepare anything today. I just found out about the meeting a few hours ago. I did want to come and speak from my heart, though. We've had a few speakers here that I 100% resonate with as far as, the needs of the county being met and the voting procedures and things, and it's really important to us that we stop these data centers. One of the biggest concerns for me has been water. We have already seen in other states that this water depletion is very severe. People that live within a mile or two have no drinking water. It's a very big concern of mine. I think when we look forward to thinking about our children and the future generations, we want to have this water. We want to have tourism. I know that Fernandina is a really big tourism place. People want to go there. They want to see our beaches. We have a really fine ecosystem here. It is a global hotspot. You cannot find that anywhere else. It is listed. You can Google research it. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. But we have very specific species that you can't find anywhere else, and a big concern is that we are going to drive those species away. But again, the biggest concern for me would be the water. We know that it's going to be depleted. We are already facing water crises. We've had droughts, we've had burn bans, we've had all of these terrible things, and I don't think that we should do anything else to go ahead and deplete that water any further. So I wanted to thank you all for this time.
Thank you. Mr. Trenton Wyndham.
Hello, my name is Trenton Wyndham. I reside at 54361 B Road, Callahan, Florida. I just learned of this meeting today. We've had a lot of good people come up and address a lot of good things. I just wanted to further address some of those things. As Ms. Wolf had stated prior, Florida, we know, is very unique as far as the states. There's nowhere like it. Specifically here in North Florida, this is, as she said, a global hotspot for biodiversity, and bringing in a data center is going to cause problems. One thing that I haven't seen anybody mention yet is the amount of heat these data centers put off is enough to change local climates, and this could have a big impact on our native wildlife. We are the world's highest concentration of artesian springs, deepwater springs. I don't think we need to be pulling any more water out from under us. Sinkholes could potentially become a hazard. I'm sorry, I don't have very much prepared. I just learned about this meeting as well. So aside from the heat, the water consumption is, I think, everybody's main concern. As Mr. Wilder had said before, in Georgia, they're pulling 29 million gallons, which is a lot higher average than I initially thought. A small data center easily pulls 500,000 gallons a day. That water is not readily able to be reused. I think that maybe we should just consider not doing a data center. There's really no incentive for any of the residents of Nassau County. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Do I have any board questions for staff or any members of the audience?
No, Madam Chair.
At this time, I'm going to close the floor for public discussion, and there will be board deliberation or entertain a motion to approve or deny tab N.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Gray.
based on review of applicable testimony and evidence provided, my motion is to approve ordinance number 2026-044.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Gray, seconded by Commissioner Farmer. Madam Clerk, will you call the vote, please?
Commissioner Hutman.
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer.
Yes.
Commissioner Gray.
Yes.
Chair McCullough.
Yes.
That's 4 ayes, 0 nays. Your motion carries.
Thank you. Tab O, consider the following. Number 1, approve and authorize finance package 2026-13 and associated budget amendments. And number 2, approve and authorize the finance package 2026-16 and associated budget amendments. We will open the floor for tab O, staff presentation or discussion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With these budget transactions, there's a couple critical pieces that are going through. As we have our conservation bonds moving forward, this provides the budget adjustments on that item.
As you exit, I don't want to distort the audio. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Allen.
And a major component is following up on the winter strategic planning session. The board provided direction on the use of cash carry forward for one-time projects. Part of these budget transactions implement those and bring those to fruition. A component of that being the Yulee Regional Park, the investment there, William Burgess, SR 200 intersection, the 14th Will Hardy Trail. And so it's moving those funds from the cash carry forward to implement them and continue with those CIP projects. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. I'm going to close the call to the podium. Those who have a card to speak on tab O, I have none. Board questions for staff or members of the audience? And now I will close the floor. Board deliberation, if any, or an entertainment motion to approve or deny tab O.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Hutman.
based on the review of applicable testimony and evidence provided, my motion is to approve Finance Package 2026-13 and Finance Package 2026-16.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Hutman, seconded by Commissioner Farmer. Madam Clerk, will you call the vote, please?
Commissioner Gray.
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer.
Yes.
Commissioner Hutman.
Yes.
Chair McCullough.
Yes.
That's 4 ayes, 0 nays. Your motion carries.
Tab P, consider CPA 25-029 and ordinance 2026-021, an amendment to the future land use map of approximately 55.27 acres located at the northeast corner of I-95 and State Road 200 from commercial to Transact 45T-4.5, Nassau Health Services LLC, owner Tony Robbins, Prime AE Group Incorporated, and Emily Pierce Rogers Towers, PA Agent District 3. We will open the floor for public discussion for tab B, staff presentation or discussion. Thank you, Ms. Beck.
Good evening, Commissioners. Elizabeth Back with the Planning Department. What you have before you tonight is a comp plan amendment. It's a future land use map amendment for approximately 55.27 acres. Nassau Health Services LLC is seeking to move from commercial or COM to Transect 4.5. The agents are Tony Robbins and Emily Pierce, and this is in Commission District 3. So just to orient you to this site, we are, let's see if this is working, looking at the northeast corner of I-95 and State Road 200. And here before you is the Timber to Tides Design Overlay transect map. You can see this parcel up here on the north side of State Road 200. On the left-hand side, we're looking at the land use currently commercial, and then the zoning, which you'll hear later this evening, is a mixture of commercial intensive, or CI, and commercial highway tourist, CHT. I'm going to kind of cruise through this rather quickly because you had already transmitted this back on your board meeting on March 9th. This was forwarded to the state. The Florida Commerce Department offered no comments on the amendment. I will add that the Florida Department of Transportation did provide some technical assistance comments related to the traffic impact analysis, which was submitted, and those will be addressed during the site development review process. No additional substantive comments were received from reviewing agencies. I will say the Northeast Florida Regional Council, or NEFRC, did advise us to coordinate with the city of Jacksonville, and staff will be forwarding the adoption package to the city of Jacksonville for coordination purposes. So with that, the planning department and the county staff are recommending approval of this application, and I am happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you. Seeing that I have no speaker cards, we will go to board questions for staff or members of the audience.
Have none, Madam Chair.
Okay, I will close the floor for public discussion, board deliberation, or I will entertain a motion to approve or deny tab P.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Gray.
based upon the record evidence and testimony received, I find that the plan amendment is consistent with policy FL0102J and policy FL0104A through G of the Nassau County Comprehensive Plan, and therefore, my motion is to approve CPA 25-029.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Gray, seconded by Commissioner Hutman. Madam Clerk, will you please call the vote?
Commissioner Farmer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner Hutman?
Yes.
Chair McCullough?
Yes.
That's 4 ayes, 0 nays. Your motion carries.
That will take us to tab Q. Consider CPA 25-031 and ordinance 2026-022, an amendment to the comprehensive plan to amend policy FL 11.08.A, Nassau Health Services LLC, owner Tony Robbins, Prime AE Group Incorporated, and Emily Pierce with Rogers Towers, PA, Agents, District 3. I will now open the floor for public discussion for tab Q, staff presentation and discussion.
Thank you. Elizabeth Back with the Planning Department. So this is also the second time that you have heard this item, as it was also transmitted to the state. This was requested to amend the future land use element of your comprehensive plan to remove a parcel-specific policy. Like with the last case, this is also represented by Tony Robbins and Emily Pierce. And the policy that this relates to is future land use element 1.09.08. So a brief history on this. It was brought before state agencies back in February of 2007 and was adopted in 2008 as a part of the 2010 comprehensive plan. It was relocated during the development of the 2030 comprehensive plan as a policy FL.11.08A. This was a voluntary proffer from the applicant to limit the maximum development program for the property related to transportation infrastructure on the site. So I'm gonna skip ahead because we did transmit this. I do want to let you know that the state offered no comments on the requested amendment, and there was no additional substantive comments received from reviewing agencies. Staff is recommending approval, and I will be happy to answer any questions you might have on this as well.
I'm now seeing as I have no speaker cards, I'll go to board questions for staff or members of the audience. At this point, we will close the floor for public discussion and have any board deliberation, or I will entertain a motion to approve or deny tab Q.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Gray.
tab Q, future land use element policy FL11-08A, based on the record, evidence, and testimony received, I find that the plan amendment is consistent with policy FL 0102C, FL 0102J, and objective FL.0 of the Nassau County Comprehensive Plan, and therefore my motion is to approve CPA 25-031.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Farmer. Madam Clerk, will you call the vote?
Commissioner Hutman,
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Chair McCullough.
Yes.
That's 4 ayes, 0 nays. Your motion carries.
Thank you. Tab R, consider transmittal of CPA 26-001 and ordinance 2026-042. An amendment to the Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map Series, FLUMS-1 and FLUMS-6 for the East Nassau Community Planning Area Master Land Use Plan, West Hinton Radiant LLC, DBA Radiant Places plus Properties LLC owner, England Thymes and Miller Driver, McAfee, Hawthorne, and Debonow Agents, District 3. We will open the floor for discussion, staff presentation.
Elizabeth Back with the Planning Department. So this is a future land use map amendment for the East Nassau Community Planning Area, future land use map 6, and also for the county's future land use map 1. As was mentioned, West Hinton is the applicant, the owner is Radiant, and the agents are England, Timms and Miller, and driver McAfee, Hawthorne, and Debonow, who are present here today in Commission District 3. Just to orient you generally, this is the overall ENCPA with the entitlements here on the right-hand side in this table. And what we are discussing tonight is this area, the southern planning area. So for the land use, you can see it here on the left-hand side. It's multi-use. And then for the zoning is PD or Planned Development -ENCPA. And neither of those are being sought to be modified tonight. Basically, the current future land use map for the entire ENCPA, you can see down here in the southern planning area, we have the green, which is the Conservation Habitat Network, or CHN. It contains both upland and wetland portions. And then the purple signifies Employment Center. So for the proposed amendment, you can see they are seeking to move from the purple, or Employment Center, to a yellow, which is a residential tier. And I will say that, and it's covered in the staff report as well, that this was something that was done previously. It was residential at one point, converted over to Employment Center, and is seeking to go back and return to residential. The applicant has a presentation as well, and they may walk you a bit more detail through the history. But just to address the changes, and this would be the subcategory land use mix. It's moving towards the residential tier 2, and so it would be increasing by 322 acres, where the Employment Center is reducing by 333. And that's due to the rebalancing and conversion of the overall entitlement for the Detailed Specific Area Plan, or DSAP 1, and a bit of refinement on the mapping for the CHN. And staff does support the final land use mix, does provide for a continuation of this market-driven suburban development in this location just west of the existing and developing William Burgess Overlay District, which in that area has seen more of a residential focus, with also parkland to the south and east through the Liberty Cove development that you're aware of. And then also this area contains quite a bit of wetlands. So this is just a table reflecting what I just mentioned on the sub-land use categories. Because we're moving to change ENCPA's future land use map, that then modifies our FLUME, our overall county future land use map. Very hard to see at this scale and size, but down in this little area, it's kind of a shaded out or more transparent area, but it reflects what's on that greater, you'll see here for ENCPA, referred to FLUME 6. So I'll briefly go over this. It is in your staff report in more detail. The subject properties currently utilized for silviculture. So the suitability of the site for Suburban residential density with a compact development pattern is what is being sought, and the rebalancing of the CHN. It enables residential development to occur in this context-sensitive manner, and then also to refine that acreage for the CHN. The entire ENCPA is structured in a way to move away from that strip-style development and urban sprawl. It has points of cross-connection and parallel corridors to State Road 200. Will also connect over to that Liberty Cove development within the William Burgess District, and then parks that are coming online that I know Dr. Clem and Josh Macbeth spoke about recently. So it'll enable residents of both areas to traverse these areas, pedestrians, bicyclists, to visit the amenities that are planned, parks, and publicly accessible waterfront areas. So very exciting. As was mentioned, there are wetlands, and they will be required to meet those requirements in the Land Development Code, and also regarding drainage and stormwater. As you're aware, there's a multitude of services, and it's just growing in terms of what's provided in the William Burgess District between the courthouse, the sheriff's office, emergency operations, animal control, a fire station, and then an additional fire station in the future coming online on Still Quarters Road, just north of State Road 200. Then you're also well aware of the population growth we're experiencing, which makes this warranted, as we do need places for people to live. Just speaking about consistency with the comprehensive plan, I did mention that on the 2011 and 2014 Flume 6 map, it did show this area as being slated for residential tier 2 subland use. And then it was determined to be in an area more appropriate for suburban residential densities due to the location characteristics, the wetlands, the development of William Burgess being more residential in nature on that side. So you will hear more from the applicant, but the requested amendment is found to be consistent with comprehensive plan, including policy FL.13.14, the adopted criteria for approval, and staff is recommending approval of this application. Happy to answer any questions, and with that, I think Ms. Hager will have a brief presentation as well. There we go.
Okay, great. Thank you, Elizabeth. Good evening, Commissioners. For the record, Lindsay Haga with England, Thames & Miller. I'm a land planner here. Pleasure to be in front of you today to walk through and add to the staff presentation and the information in your packet. I think I advance through this way for our transmittal hearing of the amendment to the Southern Planning Area. So to kind of walk us through what we all know to be the East Nassau Community Planning Area and our detailed specific area plan carved into 3 planning areas. Usually we're focused on the central planning area that we see within the site. And this evening we're in that southern planning area. We're east of I-95 and south of 200. And this gives us the context for what is the entitlement mix and really what we're focused on as far as changing those colors on the future land use map specific to the ENCPA and your comprehensive plan. You'll know this area because of the recent partnership for the public lands for the conservation. That's really what's more familiar to you on it, and then seeing in the context the adjacent uses for William Burgess Overlay District in the areas that you're seeing developed. A highlight of the area, a reminder of our acreage total in the yellow, 601 acres, give or take. Currently entitled Purple Employment Center. Again, in 2013, this was Tier 2. This was the land plan for that area. Went through a series of changes, and we see that market-driven need for residential units. Really in that context and the focus Elizabeth described for us of what this area of the county is developing in. The entitlement assigned to the Southern Planning Area was non-residential square footage, and how this is being balanced between the colors on the map and your intensities is we're gonna put that square footage back into the central planning area. It's not a loss to the county. It's still available for us to develop in the area that's generated for that in the central planning area, and then pull down the existing units from central planning area into this area. So there's no additional development rights, and we maintain a trip neutral perspective. So when we analyze for public infrastructure.
kind of walking through then this area, the area highlighted in green is that conservation lands, and then walking through the percentages and changes, an additional net positive to your conservation habitat network. What you're seeing, a refinement in that acreage, a refinement both in wetlands and in uplands, and that additional space, and then that public-private partnership that we'll have for the lands. Just pulled that from your plan that you have for the land acquisition in that area. So when you look at your map amendments, we get tested against your comprehensive plan. There's specific policies dealing with your sector plan and very specific guidelines for what we need to stay in for give us those guardrails, and we meet all those tests. And again, as far as urban sprawl and public facilities, that remains unchanged. Again, because if we look at trips, we're doing trip neutral, putting back into square footage your central planning area, pulling down those units. There's no additional rights that are being added for that request. These are visual aids that help me. If you look on the left, that's what your current plan has as far as the footprint for conservation area. And then on the right is the rebalance plan, recognizing generally in the south that stays the same. In the north, it grew a little bit. We see that from time to time on development programs. With regard to the land use that gives you entitlements into right, left on the side is the purple, and then on the right side that we see tier 2, and again with that CHN area added really in that very compact footprint in the northern half of the property that would be for the residential neighborhoods that we would create in this area. So to remind us all, our existing entitlement remains the same for this detail specific area plan number 1, your first one that you approved. This is a distribution of the land use colors reflective of the context. Staff is giving you a recommendation of finding it's consistent. Your planning board recommends transmittal of this amendment. Your next steps would be to vote to transmit this amendment out. We'll get some information from state and regional agencies and then come back to you. We think we would be in front of you in your August for the adoption of your land use amendment. With that, I'll make myself available if you have any questions. Mr. Hinton's here, as well as Stacy Ruiz, if you have any legal-based questions you'd like to ask.
Thank you. Seeing that I have no public speaking cards, do we have board questions for staff or members?
None, Madam Chair. I don't have a question, I have a comment. I'd just like to say that I appreciate you guys working so diligently to increase conservation areas. The uplands, I saw it's 279 acres, and that's pretty big, in my opinion. And I'd just like to say thank you guys for widening that gap and showing the neighbors and the friends of Nassau County that you truly do care about conservation. And that's all I have. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Mr. Gray?
Madam Chair, seems like a lot of things are in my district tonight.
Yes, sir.
But I will go ahead and echo Commissioner Farmer's comments as well. Anytime we see CHN, Conservation Habitat Network, increase, thank you very much. We appreciate it under Nassau County citizens. I'd love to see that number increase for conservation. And with that.
Hold on, I'm going to close the floor before you
Okay.
make a motion, if
Yes,
no one
ma'am.
else has any comments. I'm going to close the floor for public discussion or deliberation, or now I will entertain a motion, Mr. Gray.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for keeping me straight. Tab R, based upon the record, evidence, and testimony received, I find that the plan amendment is consistent with policy FL 0104 and policy FL 1314 of the Nassau County Comprehensive Plan. And therefore, my motion is to approve CPA 26-001 for transmittal to state agency. Made up, Madam Chair.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Gray, seconded by Commissioner Farmer. Madam Clerk, will you call the vote?
Commissioner Hutman?
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Chair McCullough?
Yes.
That's 4 ayes, 0 nays. Your motion carries.
That'll take us to tab S. Consider CPA 26-002 and ordinance 2026-0-8, an amendment to the future land use map of approximately 19.5 acres located on the west side of US Highway 17 between Hamilton Street and Tom Burney Road from commercial to urban corridor zone T-4.5, owner Dixie Manning, agent Nassau County District 3. With that, I will open the floor for public discussion and staff presentation.
Good evening, Commissioners. Will Ryder, Planning Department. This is a request to amend the future land use map of 2 parcels totaling approximately 19.5 acres from commercial to timber to tides transect-based zoning, urban corridor zone T-4.5. Dixie Manning's the applicant. Nassau County is the agent. Here's the property depicted in outlined in red. This white star straddles the property line of the 2 parcels. You can see this right here is the SR 200, US 17 intersection. This property is about a mile north of that intersection. Right to left, or dress right dress across the screen. Site map, you can see that this property is vacant, both parcels. The zoning's open rural. The future land use map designation is commercial, so it's incompatible and therefore undevelopable as is. To remedy that, Ms. Manning's elected to amend the future land use map to T-4.5. As far as its consistency with the comprehensive plan, it's designated T-45 on the regulating map. This is an undevelopable property that if this request is approved along with a subsequent rezoning later this evening, it's a great infill opportunity. It makes this vacant property developable. It's in the JEA service area and it fronts an arterial highway. Contiguous to existing urban or urban transitioning area, the title of the zoning district itself is Urban Corridor Zone. This would enable the extension of an established node that's concentrated around that 17-200 intersection. As far as its consistency with the growth trends report from 2025, we need houses, we need jobs. Depending on how this develops, this allows mixed use. It could provide either or both. Staff finds this is consistent with the comprehensive plan and recommend approval.
Thank you. Seeing that I have no speaker cards, any board questions for staff?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
if there's no
Mr.
questions.
Okay, I'm going to close the floor for
Yep, sorry,
discussion.
yeah, I got ahead of you there.
I'm going to close the floor for public discussion, board deliberation, or Mr. Hutman, I presume.
If there are no board questions, I'll make a motion on this, to give Mr. Gray a break for a moment.
Thank you, Mr. Hubbard.
Based on the record evidence and testimony received, I find the plan amendment is consistent with FL 0102 J1, policy FL 0206 C1, policy FL 0206 D, policy FL 0104 A through G of the Nassau County Comprehensive Plan. Therefore, my motion is to approve CPA 26-002.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Hutman, seconded by Commissioner Farmer. Madam Clerk, will you please call the vote?
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutman,
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer,
Yes.
Chair McCullough.
Yes.
That's 4 ayes, 0 nays. Your motion carries.
Thank you. That will take us to tab T. Consider CPA 26-003 and ordinance 2026-041, an amendment to the future land use map of approximately 4.47 acres located on the west side of US Highway 17 between Cone Lane and Hamilton Street from commercial and medium-density residential to urban corridor zone T-4.5. Owner Dixie Manning, agent Nassau County District 3. And with that, we will open the floor for public discussion and staff presentation.
Good evening again, Commissioners. Will Ryder, Planning Department. This is a request to consider a flume amendment for an approximately 4.5 acre parcel from commercial and medium density residential to urban corridor zone T-4.5 transect zoning. Dixie Manning is the applicant and Nassau County is serving as the agent. This might look familiar in light of our last topic. This property depicted in red is about a half mile north of the intersection of SR 200 and US 17. A lot of complicated things going on with this property, and the proposal's less complicated. You can see this is a vacant parcel. You can see on the zoning here, we have open rural zoning and commercial general zoning. We have current land use and future land use map of commercial in red and medium density residential in gold. And over here on the regulating map, we have T-45 and we have T-4. So in honor of the recent running of the Belmont Stakes, this is like the trifecta of incompatibility. So it seems like it makes sense to make this all a nice Tennessee orange and make this T-4.5 urban corridor zone, which is accompanied by a request to rezone the property to T-4.5 later in this meeting. As far as its consistency with the comprehensive plan, with it being designated, excuse me, T4 and T45, normally you can't deviate that except in T4, T45, or T5. You can request a half step up or down. In this case, Ms. Manning's requested to go T-4.5. Both of these permit mixed-use development and non-residential development. T4.5, which we'll hear later in the zoning, when we discuss the zoning, it allows both, but there's no minimum residential requirement here, which is, we believe, is fine because there are a lot of mixed use and commercial uses out there that are currently. Again, a lot of this property is undevelopable. This makes the entire property developable. And it enables the extension of that node from US 17 further to this property and then further north to the northwest of the property that we considered earlier tonight. We believe it's consistent with the comprehensive plan and recommend approval. Be happy to answer any questions.
It seems that I have no speaker cards. Board questions? I'll close the floor for public discussion, deliberation, or entertain a motion to approve or deny tab T.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Farmer.
based on the record evidence and testimony received, I find that the plan amendment is consistent with policy FL 0102J1, policy FL 0206C1, Florida policy 0206D, and policy 0104A through G of the Nassau County Comprehensive Plan, and therefore my motion is to approve CPA 26-003.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Farmer, seconded by Commissioner Hutman. Madam Clerk, will you call the vote?
Commissioner Hutman,
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Chair McCullough.
Yes.
That's 4 ayes, 0 nays. Your motion carries.
Thank you. That will take us to tab U, consider Land Development Code 26-008 and Ordinance 2026-033, an amendment to the Nassau County Land Development Code, Article 44, Transect-Based Zoning District TBC. I will open the floor for public discussion for tab U with our staff presentation.
Good evening again, Commissioners. Elizabeth Back with the Planning Department. So this request is the first reading for an amendment to the Land Development Code. This will be revisions to Article 44, which is titled Transect-Based Zoning District. So there'll be a couple things we seek to improve. You'll recall at the winter strategic planning session, I believe I gave a brief presentation mentioning that certain uses, while not intended to be excluded from the Timber to Tides design overlay, were not perfectly clarified in the code. So the planning department is bringing this before you for consideration to clarify those parameters. So the first of those would be for the T7.3 zoning district, which is considered to be T7.3 industrial park, to really clarify what the site plan requirements would be for those. Secondly, we're seeking to define and create service providers and contractors, home equipment rental, and then also lawn or landscaping maintenance service uses, to clarify that those are permitted uses within the transects mentioned here on the slide, basically T3.5 through T5, and then also to specify the screening and buffering if there's any proposed storage of equipment, materials, company vehicles for those uses. And then additionally, we've added in T2.5 and 3 that lawn or landscaping maintenance service uses also be permitted uses. Additionally, we've created a specification that the minimum frontage build out, which is required for properties within Timber to Tides design overlay, that it would exclude right-of-way, access drives, and any required buffer and screen. So as part of the form-based code, we're really seeking to have buildings front directly on roadways such as State Road 200 and have it be a pedestrian-friendly, really walkable, bikeable area and have more of an urban flavor and feel to it. So as part of that, we're looking to have, like you see on Center Street, just building after building and really close to the road and make it a pleasant walking or biking experience. So in order to do that, the frontage build-out percentages are fairly high. You'll see them be 80 or 90% of the lot width. So this gives folks a little bit of a break, taking into account that you can't achieve a building facade, across a driveway, access drive, or required side yard setback. So long story short, that's what that is seeking to do. Here are the additional details in terms of the definitions for service providers and contractors, home equipment rental, and then we've tied lawn or landscape maintenance service back to the existing definition in the LDC. So staff does find this to be consistent with the comprehensive plan and the land development code and Florida statutes, the goals, objectives, policies of the comp plan, and is recommending approval and is seeking for this to pass on first reading and schedule for a second hearing. As it involves land use, it does require 2 readings, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Board questions for staff? Okay, I have no speaker cards. At this time, I will close the floor for deliberation or entertain a motion to deny or approve tab U. Mr. Farmer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Based on the record, evidence, and testimony received, I find that the amendment is consistent with the Nassau County Comprehensive Plan, Objective FL10, Policy FL10-05, Policy FL02-06, Florida statutes, and Nassau County Land Development Code. Therefore, my motion is to approve and move to second hearing LDC 26-008, Ordinance 2026-033.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Farmer, seconded by Commissioner Hutman. Madam Clerk, will you please call the vote?
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer?
Yes.
Commissioner Hutman?
Yes.
Chair McCullough?
Yes.
That's 4 ayes, 0 nays. Your motion carries.
Thank you. Tabs V through X are quasi judicial hearings.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, can I request a recess, please?
Oh,
Just
yes,
a
sir.
short break?
Thank you. Okay. We're gonna take a 10-minute break. We'll reconvene, or can we do 7 minutes, 6:20?
7's great with me.
7's great, 6:20.
Thank you.
Sometimes I call the meeting room back to order. Tabs V through X are quasi-judicial hearings. Madam Attorney, will you read the procedures?
Yes, Madam Chair. The following items are to be heard as a quasi-judicial hearing. That is tab V, as in Victor, to consider R 25-023 and ordinance 2026-020, the rezoning of approximately 55.27 acres located at the northeast corner of I-95 and State Road 200 from commercial intensive and commercial highway tourists to Transect 4.5. Nassau Health Services LLC owner, Tony Robbins Prime, AE Group, Inc., and Emily Pierce, Rogers Towers, PA, as agents in District 3. Tab W, to consider R 26-002 and ordinance 2026-039, the rezoning of approximately 19.58 acres located on the west side of US 17 between Hamilton Street and Tom Burney Road from open rural to urban corridor zone T-4.5. Dixie Manning owner, Nassau County agent in District 3. Tab X, to consider R 26-003 and ordinance 2026-040, the rezoning of approximately 4.47 acres located on the west side of US 17 between Cohen Lane and Hamilton Street from commercial general and open rural to urban corridor zone T-4.5. Dixie Manning owner, Nassau County agent in District 3. Quasi-judicial hearing by state and case law is different than a regular hearing conducted by this board. A quasi-judicial is less formal than a court hearing, but similar in its procedure and evidence matters. Applicants have the burden of demonstrating through competent and substantial evidence that his or her application is consistent with the following requirements. For tab V, that is policy FL.01.02.J, policy FL.02.06, policy FL.08.04, and policy FL.08.06A through G of the Nassau County Comprehensive Plan, and section 502C and 502D 1 through 8 of the Nassau County Land Development Code. For tab W, that's policy FL.01.02.J.1, policy FL.02.06.C.1, policy FL.02.06D, policy FL.08.06A through G of the Nassau County Comprehensive Plan, and section 5.02C and section 5.02D 1 through 8 of the Nassau County Land Development Code. For tab X, that's policy FL.01.02.J.1, policy FL.02.06.C.1, policy FL.02.06D, policy FL.08.06A through G of the Nassau County Comprehensive Plan, and section 5.02C and section 5.02D 1 through 8 of the Nassau County Land Development Code. Those opposed must also demonstrate through competent substantial evidence that the application does not meet these requirements. While the board welcomes comments from all who have interest in these proceedings, Florida law requires that the board's decision in a quasi-judicial action be supported by competent and substantial evidence presented to the board during the hearing on that application. Competent substantial evidence is such evidence as a reasonable mind would accept as adequate to support a conclusion. There must be a factual basis in the record to support opinion testimony from both expert and non-expert witnesses. General objections without specific evidence does not constitute competent and substantial evidence. Email communications received until the time of this meeting are part of the public record for the hearing, but are not without more competent and substantial evidence. The applicant is entitled to be represented by counsel. If any applicant desires a continuance to obtain counsel, they may make that request to the board at the time. It is at the board's discretion to approve or deny that request. Hearing procedures will be as follows. Staff will be sworn in to describe the applicant's request, and they will have 10 minutes. The applicant may waive their presentation and rely upon staff comments. If they waive their presentation, they retain the right to rebut any testimony against their application. Any of the applicants may wish to waive their presentation at this time. Thank you, Ms. Pierce. So for item V, there is a waiver of presentation. They retain the right to rebut and to answer any questions for the board. The applicant or their representatives will have an opportunity to present evidence for the application, and they will have 15 minutes for that presentation. Public participants for or against the application will be sworn. They will have 3 minutes each to provide testimony and present evidence to the board. Extensions of time may only be granted through the chair. Sharing or transferring of time is not allowed. Public participants presenting evidence for or against the application will address the board at the podium. Any documents or photographs must be submitted to the deputy clerk. They do become a part of the permanent record. The applicant or the representative will then have 10 minutes for any cross-exam or to provide rebuttal evidence. Staff will have 5 minutes to provide final comments. The board will then close the public hearing and discuss the application. You may ask questions of the applicant, staff, or witnesses for or against an application. Any motion of the board should conclude whether the board member finds competent and substantial evidence in the record and/or testimony received to support your decision to approve or deny the agenda item. Finally, this meeting is being recorded. Again, no applause, outburst, or talking. If anyone has questions about these procedures, you may ask them now. Seeing none, Madam Chair.
Thank you. That will take us to tab B. Consider R25-023 and ordinances 2026-020. The rezoning of approximately 55.27 acres located at the northeast corner of I-95 and State Road 200 from commercial intensive and commercial highway tourist CHT to Transact T-4.5. Nassau Health Services LLC owner, Tony Robbins Prime AE Group Incorporated, and Emily Pierce, Rogers Tower, PA, Agent District 3. Ex parte disclosures to tab V. Ex parte disclosure including email, letters, site visits, and any other forms of communication. Disclosure shall include who the communication was with, the nature of the communication. Disclosure should state the substance of the communication. Mr. Farmer?
None.
Mr. Hutman?
None.
Mr. Gray?
None.
And I have none. Madam Clerk, will you identify the documents to be placed into the record for tab V?
Documents submitted into the record: application, 8 pages, legal description, 1 page, owner authorization for agent, 2 pages, survey, 2 pages, location map, 1 page, availability letter, 4 pages, environmental site assessment, 238 pages, traffic impact analysis, 250 pages, staff supplemental report, 8 pages, staff report, 8 pages, draft ordinance, 8 pages, business impact estimate, 2 pages, executed planning and zoning motion, 1 page, planning and zoning presentation, 15 pages, and Board of County Commissioners staff presentation, 15 pages.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to accept the record,
Second.
accept the documents in the record.
Motion made by Commissioner Hutman, seconded by Commissioner Gray. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Ready? Open the public hearing for tab V and staff presentation.
Do you swear affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? I do. Please state your name and title for the record.
Elizabeth Back with the Planning Department, Planning Director. Good evening again, Commissioners. So this is the companion rezoning to the comprehensive plan amendment that we heard earlier this evening for the 55.27 acres just north of State Road 200 east of I-95, seeking to move from commercial intensive, or CI, and commercial highway tourist, CHT, to Transect 4.5 within the Timber to Tides design overlay. Nassau Health Service is the applicant, with Tony Robbins and Emily Pierce as the agents. And just to orient us to the site again, we're talking about the area in red. And this is the first time you've heard the rezoning request, but the 2 comprehensive plan amendment items have gone through the transmittal process. So the zoning request, you'll see this darker red color, the current CI, and then the lighter red, the CHT, and the commercial on the entire parcel, seeking the Transect 4.5. And then this one is located about midway within the Timber to Tides design overlay, and you have something else. They're located within the Corridor Gateway Activity Center. So should the rezoning be approved, there are some additional architectural requirements and other requirements that they would need to meet as being within the activity center. So regarding T 4.5, that is one of the higher, more urbanized feeling transects, it can consist 100% of non-residential or multifamily. Now, if they do residential density, they are able to go from 0 to 18 dwelling units per acre. And it has a wide range of building types. Building heights can reach up to 6 stories and need to define or be up close to the street edge. The first floor of all buildings is required to engage the public realm, promoting active and walkable streets. And like I said, can be non-residential. The maximum floor area ratio is 2. So staff does find this to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. I should mention that the transect that they are seeking is the one shown on the regulating map, so they would be consistent with that. And just to give you an overview of the density ranges, we're at T 4.5, urban corridor zone, so just before T5, which is the highest non-special district transect in terms of density and intensity. So I did mention that that is consistent with the regulating plan. And it would meet the policies of the comprehensive plan, including support for infill development. As you're aware, Timber to Tides design overlay was approved last summer. It's almost been a year. This is supported in your staff report as well, but this rezoning is also supported by many of the fearless targets, environmental sustainability, resiliency, and quality of life and quality of place initiatives through the strategic plan. Just a reminder that they will need to meet any wetland mitigation, upland buffer type requirements, and then also drainage and stormwater. This is an enlargement of the future land use map 11 for the corridor gateway area, just showing the parcel and how it does require cross connectivity. So staff does find that the rezoning request is consistent with future land use policies, the land development code, and staff is recommending approval. Should also mention the Planning and Zoning Board did recommend approval during their February 3rd meeting. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. And the applicant has waived their presentation. I have no speaker cards. Any cross-examination or rebuttal for tab B? Final comments from staff or board questions? I will close the public hearing for tab B, board deliberation, or I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, tab B, based upon the record evidence and testimony received, I find that there is competent and substantial evidence pursuant to policy FL 0102J, policy FL 0206, policy FL 0804, and policy FL 0806A through G of the Nassau County Comprehensive Plan, and section 5.02C and section 5.02D 1 through 8 of the Nassau County Land Development Code, and therefore my motion is to approve R25-023.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Gray, seconded by Commissioner Farmer. Madam Clerk, will you please call the vote?
Commissioner Hutman,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer,
Yes.
Chair McCullough.
Yes.
That's 4 ayes, 0 nays. Your motion carries.
Thank you. That will take us to tab W. Consider R26-002 and ordinance 2026-039. The rezoning of approximately 19.58 acres located on the west side of US Highway 17 between Hamilton Street and Tom Burney Road from open rural to urban corridor zone T-45, Dixie Manning owner, Nassau County agent, District 3. Ex parte disclosure to tab W. Mr. Hutman?
None, ma'am.
Mr. Gray?
None, ma'am.
Mr. Farmer?
No.
Madam Clerk, will you please identify the documents to be placed into the record for tab W?
Documents submitted into the record: application, 9 pages; consent forms, 2 pages; supplemental staff report, 6 pages; planning and zoning staff report, 6 pages; draft ordinance, 4 pages; business impact estimate, 2 pages; executed planning and zoning motion, 1 page; planning and zoning staff presentation, 12 pages; and Board of County Commissioners staff presentation, 6 pages.
Madam Chair, move to accept the documents into the record.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Hutman, seconded by Commissioner Farmer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Open the public hearing for tab W. And onward to staff presentation.
Do you swear affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and title for the record.
Will Ryder, Planning Department, Assistant Planning Director. This is a request to rezone two parcels totaling approximately 19.5 acres from open rural to transect-based zoning, timber to tides, urban transitional zone T-4.5. Ms. Dixie Manning's the owner, and Nassau County is serving as the agent. This property located a mile northwest of the SR 200 US 17 intersection, depicted outlined here in red. The white star straddles two property lines. This is the area in question. You see it's designated as T-4.5 or depicted as T-45 on the regulating map. Two vacant lots. You can see this open rural zoning with a commercial land use, incompatible, undevelopable as it stands now. Granting the request would align this, would make the property developable. Permitted uses allows a variety of uses. It's a mixed-use zoning district. It allows residential development, 18 dwelling units per acre. There is no minimum residential requirement like you find in some of the other transect-based zonings. Offices, services, retail, restaurants, shopping centers, public uses, entertainment, agriculture, automotive, education, wide range of various uses, and then the two conditional uses noted here on this slide. As far as its consistency with the comprehensive plan, as you heard earlier with the accompanying CPA amendment for this, it's designated T-45 on the regulating map. It allows, that zoning district allows for the urban mixed-use development, which is called for into timber to tides. It's an infill opportunity. If this request is granted, makes the property developable. Line the zoning district with the flume, which you voted on earlier this evening. As far as its consistency with the rezoning criteria, for many of the same reasons that we heard with its consistency with the comprehensive plan. It fixes that incompatibility. It's situated in the timber to tides district. This is what the regulating map is calling for. It's in a transitioning zone that already has a lot of variety of uses. This is an extension of that node that's centered around the 17-200 intersection. And all new development be applicable to all applicable standards in the code, particularly Articles 44 and 45. And with that, we find it's consistent with the comprehensive plan, the land development code, and the PZB voted unanimously to recommend approval at its May 5th meeting. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Ryder, you can see how that tie might be mistaken for a Florida tie.
Maybe not Tennessee, right?
Well, I am in blue and orange, aren't I?
Yes, sir.
There was this one time.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Ryder.
Feeling very alligator-like tonight.
Yes, sir.
I will now, I have no speaker cards, any cross-examination or rebuttal. Final comment for staff? Board questions? I'm going to close the public hearing for tab W, board deliberation, or I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Gray.
based on the record, evidence, and testimony received, I find that there is competent substantial evidence pursuant to policy FL 0102J1, policy FL 026C1, policy FL 0206D, policy FL 0806A through G of the Nassau County Comprehensive Plan, and section 5.02C and section 5.02D, 1 through 8 of the Nassau County Land Development Code, and therefore my motion is to approve R26-002.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Farmer. Madam Clerk, will you call the vote?
Commissioner Farmer?
Yes.
Commissioner Hupman?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Chair McCullough?
Yes.
That's 4 ayes, 0 nays. Your motion carries.
Thank you. That will take us to tab X. Consider R26-003 and ordinance 2026-040, the rezoning of approximately 4.47 acres located on the west side of US Highway 17 between Cohen Lane and Hamilton Street from commercial general and open rural to urban corridor zone. Dixie Manning, owner, Nassau County agent, District 3. Ex parte disclosure, Mr. Farmer.
None.
Mr. Hutman?
None, ma'am.
Mr. Gray?
None, ma'am.
And I have none. Madam Clerk, will you please identify the documents to be placed into the record for tab X?
Documents submitted into the record, application, 8 pages, consent form, 2 pages, supplemental staff report, 7 pages, planning and zoning staff report, 7 pages, draft ordinance, 3 pages, business impact estimate, 2 pages, executed planning and zoning motion, 1 page, planning and zoning staff presentation, 13 pages, and Board of County Commissioner staff presentation, 13 pages.
Madam Chair, motion to accept the records into evidence?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Hutman, seconded by Commissioner Farmer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Open the public hearing for tab X and staff presentation.
Good evening again, Commissioners. Will Ryder, Planning Department. This is a request to rezone approximately 4.5 acres from commercial general and open rural to urban corridor zone T-4.5 Transect base zoning. Owner is Dixie Manning. Nassau County is the agent. Subject property outlined in red here is a half-mile northwest of the SR 200 US 17 intersection. And property is vacant. You can see we have open rural zoning and commercial zoning, future land use, which is T-4.5 based on your approval earlier tonight of that. But prior you had common, commercial, and multi-density residential. So a lot of splits on this property as we saw in the CPA presentation. And T-4 and T-4.5 indicated on Flume 11, the regulating map. The proposal is to take it all to T-4.5. Permitted uses, similar, the same uses that we saw on the previous agenda item. Residential development, 18 dwelling units per acre with no residential requirement, and the offices, services, retail, restaurants, what education, wide range of uses, and the 2 conditional uses noted here. Its consistency with the comprehensive plans and infill opportunity, T-4, T-4.5, as discussed earlier. It is split, but the zoning code allows you to grant a request in T-4 a half step up or a half step down. Therefore, T-4.5 is permissible by code. And this enables the extension of a commercial node that already exists concentrated around that key intersection. Its consistency with the rezoning criteria, very much like with the comprehensive plan, like on the previous item. It's split zone as a split condition with the flume and the timber to tides. Rezoning to T-4.5 eliminates the split condition. It's in an urban area, if you will, very much a transitioning area. We find that it's consistent with the future, with the comprehensive plan, the land development code, specifically the criteria for rezoning, and the PZB recommended unanimous approval, and happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? With no board questions, I'm going to close the public hearing for tab X. For deliberation, or I will entertain a motion. Mr. Farmer.
Yes, ma'am. Based on the record, evidence, and testimony received, I find that there is competent and substantial evidence pursuant to policy FL 0102J1, policy FL 0206C1, policy FL 0206D, policy FL 0806A through G of the Nassau County Comprehensive Plan, and section 5.02C and section 5.02D, 1 through 8 of the Nassau County Land Development Code, and therefore my motion is to approve R26-003.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Farmer, seconded by Commissioner Hutman. Madam Clerk, will you please call the vote?
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer?
Yes.
Commissioner Hutman?
Yes.
Chair McCullough?
Yes.
That's 4 ayes, 0 nays. Your motion carries.
Thank you. That will take us to informational items. Board of County Commissioner newsletter for April 2026. Mr. Gray, I was waiting on you to throw it up.
Yep.
Man, doesn't get any
Got
more
it.
transparent. Every work order, every attorney, everything that we do every month right here for the public.
Yep.
I love it. Thank you, Ms. Sabrina, and your staff who does an amazing job putting that information out. That will take us to general public comment. I have 2 speaker cards for general public comment. I will start with you, Mr. Raghu Murphy. Thank you for joining us.
All right,
this
thank
evening.
you. Thank you for having me. So I'm Dr. Raghu Murthy. I'm the founder of Well and You, and many of you got my emails last week, and I responded. So I really appreciate you guys responding to those emails and helping facilitate the connection that I requested. So I wanted to discuss a little bit about our company that we're building. So basically, we have a multi-specialty practice, and it's a medical group that we serve Northeast Florida for. What makes our model unique is that we bring together cardiovascular, vascular, wound care, interventional pain specialists in one setting. So when a patient gets seen, they get all of those expertise all together in a few visits, as opposed to having to be siloed and go to all different specialists in all different referral patterns. So we try to really take a holistic approach for these patients. Today, approximately 25% of our patients come from Nassau County. In addition, nearly 30% of our employees, including several members of our leadership team, live in Nassau County and are deeply invested in the health and well-being of this community. So what we're aiming to do is open a practice or a satellite office out in Callahan. Actually, quite a few of our employees reside in Callahan, including our director of nursing, who's with me today, as well as our lead ultrasound tech. So we could easily roll out this type of practice that would benefit those patients in those rural settings that could really help with their transportation issues of arriving to our office, as well as help with those patients who have mobility issues, because we see quite a few of them in our practice already. Because of this connection and the need, we hope to roll this out in the month of August or September. That's our goal. We've already identified a location, and we are applying to the Rural Health Transformation Program in order to help achieve this goal. The goal is simple: to improve access to these patients, reduce travel burdens for those families, and help residents receive advanced outpatient care treatment close to where they live, which is such a challenge. They get primary care there, they get urgent care there, but specialty care is very, very hard to be delivered in those areas. So we're committed to being a long-term healthcare provider in Nassau County, and we look forward to working with the community and the leaders to help improve access throughout the county. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Jackie Osborne?
Jackie Osborne, Post Office Box 16796, Fernandina Beach, Florida. I am a volunteer or ambassador at Nassau County Animal Services. And I want y'all to know that kitten season is in full swing. It's going at 90 miles an hour. I took these this afternoon and thought y'all would enjoy them. They've got a glassed-in room where those were, and they were playing and having a good time. And of course, as soon as I got the camera, they quit playing, just looked at me and said, we're not going to do that. For our numbers, we've got 72 dogs in our kennel over there, 49 in foster care. A great number of these foster care dogs have heartworms. Please, please, please make sure that your dog has heartworm meds from its veterinarian. Cats in the cattery, we've got 52 cats in the cattery. Almost all of them are kittens, maybe 5 or 8 adults. We have 101 kittens and cats in foster right now. We have some very generous people living in Nassau County who's opened their heart and their home to these foster babies. They're really darling, and we really appreciate this. A lot of the kittens of this 101 will be coming back to the animal shelter soon to be spayed and neutered, and they'll be available quickly. I noticed that the audience has diminished to a large degree. I was hoping that I could talk them all into going over to the animal shelter and getting a dog or a kitten, but they left before I got to tell them. Wednesday, they are open until 6 o'clock Wednesday evening, so you can get there after work, and Saturday and Sunday, 11 to 4. They're closed holidays and Mondays. Thank you very much. The kittens love you all, and the puppies. I promise to have puppy pictures next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackie. Mr. Michael Olson?
Good evening. My name is Michael Olson. I live at 45064 Robinwood Circle. This is my first time doing this, so I'm very nervous.
Look, I taught public school for years. Don't be nervous. We're just here.
So I want to bring up tonight, so I got a citation for running my dogs. And so that's primarily what this is about. If we can make an amendment to our ordinance about making the restriction or being restraint. Right now, it says that dogs, cats, ferrets have to be restrained by a leash or a lead. And I run with my dogs every day. I've been doing it for the last 2 years with these 2 dogs, and then 2 years before that with my other Great Dane. I just now got the citation, and I want to bring this up because my dogs are great off leash. They're not in any way like bouncing or anything like that. They're not crazy or anything like that. So for me, let me read this real quick. So I want to ask you guys what your thoughts are for a restraint, because when I think of a restraint, it's more than just a leash. It's more than just a lead. For me, like, I can use my shock collar on my dog, training collar on my dog. One thing that it says is like on the restraint under section 6 TAC 45, it says a hunting dog shall not be considered at large when he is found to be under restraint while engaged in hunting. What's the difference between me running my dog with a e-collar compared to what a dog is using while he's hunting, right? So that is something that I'm trying to bring up to you guys so that we can possibly make that amendment with the community. I understand that there are other factors like people are scared of dogs, but like I also have a Second Amendment right. I can carry a weapon. My right or my dog's right shouldn't be infringed upon other people's fears. The actual definition of what a restraint is a measure or condition that keeps someone or something under control or within limits. The way that I use my e-collar on my dogs is it is limiting them. It's not going to keep them straight at 6 feet with a leash, but I can use it in a manner where I can keep them within a reasonable limit. Sorry, I'm really nervous. I really appreciate you guys letting me come up here and talk to you guys about this. And I would like to hear from you guys, your opinions on it.
Mr. Olson, I'm going to tell you that we're not going to like engage in our opinions, because if it ever came before the board's vote, I will tell you my information. I can give you a card. I know all of the commissioners would probably give you a card, and that's really the best way for us to have that discussion, not here at the dais in this 3 minutes, because we do practice sunshine here in Florida.
Okay.
Okay, but Mr. Hutman and Mr. Gray wanted a couple comments.
Yeah, Mike, I'd like to get some info from you, so I'll give you my card. We're going to speak separately, find out the case-specific issue, and we'll talk about possibilities.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing it up. I do believe there's some tech advances, right? A leash is a leash, but electronic leads are also leashes. They're just invisible.
Thank you.
For behaviors, yeah.
I'll also give you one of my cards to get with you, Mike. But where was you at when this got a citation? You get from Nassau County Sheriff's Office or code enforcement? You on the beach or where were you?
It was with animal control.
Okay.
So I was running. I got a citation when I wasn't even there. So I was gone May 5th, and that was the date that the person who accused me of this incident said I did it. Now, but I wasn't even there that day. So
I'll talk to you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, so I would encourage you, it is online, but we will all give you our card upon the end of the
Okay.
meeting.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
We appreciate you, thank you. And that will take us to the county manager's business.
No additional business, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Attorney?
I do have an item for you tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Back on January 26, 2026, you voted to appoint John Richard Hearn as the alternate member of the canvassing board for the election year 2026. Unfortunately, Mr. Hearn has had some issues come up that prevent him from fulfilling those duties. I do have a volunteer for you, a wonderful one, our good clerk, Mr. Mitchell Lee Kiter. our current clerk of court has volunteered to serve in this capacity for the election year 2026. So I'm seeking the board's appointment to confirm that.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint the current clerk, Mitch Kiter, as the alternate member of the canvassing board for this upcoming election year.
Jeff, I'm going to defer to you on a second since I'm up for election.
Oh, okay, yeah, I second that motion, thank you.
If you so-
Motion made by Mr. Farmer, seconded by Commissioner Gray. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Mr. Mitchell Lee Kiter will serve as the alternate member of the canvassing board for the election year 2026. Thank you, ma'am. That will take us to county commissioners' business. Mr. Farmer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll try to make this fast. I'd like to send my condolences to the Cunningham family of Hilliard. This past week, we lost a good friend and a neighbor. He was also a former JFRD fireman and longtime Hilliard resident, Skip Cunningham. He was always active in the Florida Farm Bureau functions, Cattlemen's Association, Northeast Florida Fair events, and was a real champion for local agriculture. My thoughts and prayers go out to the entire Cunningham family during this difficult time. I'd like to say what a wonderful ribbon cutting that we experienced this past Saturday, opening the Westside Regional Park. Our contractor over there, McCall, and all the Nassau County Board of Commissioners staff did a marvelous job, and I couldn't get the smile off my face because Nassau County's never seen a park of that magnitude. And if you haven't seen it, you haven't had the opportunity to see it, I promise you the buzz on the street will make you want to go see it. And it's going to just be a real asset to the entire county as we move forward. I'd like to congratulate Hicken Power or Callahan Speedway. They had a burnout Sunday over there where they were doing some burnouts. Guys brought the trucks and cars in there. And so it's really cool to see those guys finally get to be able to get that thing where it's really close to being able to race over there at the drag strip. And they had a packed house. I saw quite a few of the social media posts and stuff like that were very uplifting. And Mr. Hicken and that crew, they've spent a substantial amount of their time and money out there bringing something really fun to the area. I'd also like to mention that Community Stewards of Yulee, Miss Judy Turner, needs the assistance of the community to replace the engine in Beaufort, the fire truck. I think she's somewhere about $4,000, give or take, of the $10,000 that she's needed to replace it. I noticed that several of the local mechanics, Dale Hare and some of the others, are helping her out with that. If you want to reach out to me for details, every dollar counts. I saw where Miss Judy posted that recently a child walked up and gave her 75 cents for Beaufort the fire truck, and I'm sure that was quite an emotional moment for Miss Judy because they do a lot for our friends and neighbors. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out and speaking on behalf of the moratorium. I'd like to just mention a few words and phrases that really stood out to me amongst our speakers. I heard safeguards, serves our residents, supporting infrastructure, unique, global hotspot, and leave Florida healthier and more beautiful than you found it. And I think all those really mean a lot to me as a commissioner and as a neighbor and a lifelong resident of Nassau County. Just like to encourage everyone to please continue to participate with our future fact-finding committee meetings, and just like to thank each and every resident that's called, emailed, they flagged me down in public, took the time to attend these meetings, especially my friends and neighbors from Callahan. I saw a lot of speakers that were from my area today, and appreciate you all coming out and participating. It doesn't go unnoticed. It's greatly appreciated and recognized, and that's all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hutman.
I'm going to just say ditto, Mr. Farmer. West Side was fabulous. I appreciate the staff engaging the community, and I appreciate the community engaging on the data center informational sessions. It's quite a lot of information to take in. It's good. So I think we made a great choice tonight, and we'll see how that shakes out going forward. I think that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm sorry. I have one more thing for the internet folks because I love them, especially Facebook. Facebook, I love Facebook. When you comment that the meetings aren't scheduled to someone else's work schedule, I just want to put out there that the staff is here, generally from 8 o'clock in the morning until they go home at 4 or 5 o'clock at night. And then they're here now until, as an example, tonight till 7 o'clock. So, and these meetings often happen a few days a week, several times a month, where the staff is here. And so we try to target meeting times to be as convenient as possible to everybody, the public and the staff who have lives as well. So that's why we picked, we used to do them later, but then you were here till 8, 9 o'clock at night with staff folks that have been here all day. So we rolled it back to 5 o'clock to try to make it more convenient, and we appreciate the public working with us so that everybody can have a decent quality of life when it comes to their job. Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Gray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ditto to West Side Regional Park opening ceremony. It was fantastic. Everybody had a great time. I know, wonderful to see that thing come to fruition. Also, I want to thank all the residents who came to speak out tonight on data centers and that fact-finding committee. We've got a website online. They can go online and click on our website, and they got a QR code and a link and everything to take you straight to, and you can leave comments, I believe, on there as well.
It also has a place for public comment. If you're
Yeah.
not here on the
Yep.
dais, you can input all of your comments there, yes.
Yep, so I just want to put that shout out for the people who's watching. I had the pleasure of touring the Hilliard Middle High School's aquaponics program. I tell you what, that's truly amazing to see what those kids are doing up there with Pastor Gerald instructing all of them, the tilapia and the vegetables. I mean, it's, commissioners, if you get a chance to go up there and tour that, that's a really cool thing. And ditto for community stewards of Yulee, donations of Buford the fire truck. Absolutely, and we're gonna be putting that engine in pretty soon up there on that truck, you know. So if anybody would like to come out and give us a hand, we appreciate it. And that's all I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. I want to begin by expressing my sincerest gratitude to all the first responders, those who put on that bulletproof vest every day to protect us, those who run into fires to safeguard Nassau County residents, those who answer medical emergencies throughout our community. Their service and sacrifice deserves respect and appreciation. That being said, I want to correct the record regarding several posts that have been publicly attributed to me over the last couple weeks. I understand that it's election season and that people hold different opinions, support different candidates, and disagree on policy. That is part of the democratic process. What should not be part of the process is attributing statements to someone without verification and then repeating those claims publicly as fact. Facts matter, transparency matter, and accountability matters. Once again, I'm thankful for the men and women who serve our community as first responders, and I wish everyone a blessed evening. We are adjourned.